The vast darkness of space stretched out before the UES horizon, a sleek human warship that cut through the endless black like a silver arrow. Captain J. Park stood motionless, his dark eyes fixed on the holographic display that flickered with streams of incoming data. The bridge was quiet, but a tension hummed beneath the surface like an electrical current. Lieutenant Yuna Kim's fingers moved swiftly across the quantum communication panel. Her breathing was steady, controlled. Years of military training had taught her to remain calm, even when the universe seemed to be holding its breath. "Captain," she called out, her voice crisp and clear, "we're receiving multiple transmission signals from the outer colonies." J. Park stepped closer to her station. The holographic display expanded, showing a complex network of star systems. Red markers indicated potential threat zones, areas where alien movement had been detected in recent weeks. The human colonies had been expanding rapidly. What started as small settlements on distant planets had grown into a complex network of human-controlled territories. But expansion always came with risks. And today, those risks were becoming very real. A sudden burst of static crackled through the ship's communication systems. The bridge crew tensed. Lieutenant Kim adjusted her headset, her fingers dancing across advanced filtering systems. "Incoming transmission from Artemis Prime Colony," she announced. The colony was humanity's most distant outpost, a critical research and mining station situated on the edge of known space. The transmission was fragmented, broken, but its message was clear. Something was coming. Captain Park studied the data streams. Alien fleet signatures were emerging from hyperspace transition points. Their formations were unlike anything human strategists had previously encountered. These weren't random attacks. This was a coordinated invasion. "Battle stations," Park commanded, his voice cutting through the growing tension. Alarms began to pulse throughout the ship. Crew members moved with practiced efficiency. Each person knew their role, understood the complexity of the moment. The UES horizon wasn't just a warship. It was humanity's first line of defense. Engineer Sung Ho worked rapidly in the lower decks, monitoring the quantum drive systems. The ship's experimental technology represented years of human innovation. Traditional weapons would be useless against the approaching alien fleet, but human creativity had always been their greatest weapon. "Quantum shields at maximum," Sung Ho reported through the communication system. "Adaptive defense protocols are online." On the bridge, Captain Park watched the alien fleet's approach. Their ships were biological mechanical hybrids, moving with an almost organic fluidity. Traditional military doctrine suggested retreat, but Park knew humanity didn't retreat. They adapted. Lieutenant Kim's console erupted with warning signals. "Multiple enemy vessels detected. They're targeting our forward quadrants." Park's hand rested lightly on the tactical interface. Decades of military experience had taught him that battles were won through strategy, not just firepower. "Prepare quantum disruptor sequence," he ordered. The weapon was untested in real combat, a technological marvel developed in secret research facilities. Today would be its first true test. The crew of the UES Horizon represented humanity's best. Diverse, trained, innovative. They weren't just soldiers. They were pioneers, explorers, the sharp edge of human potential. Outside the ship's reinforced windows, space itself seemed to hold its breath. The alien fleet was approaching, their intentions clear. Invasion, conquest, elimination. But they didn't know humanity. They didn't understand the spirit that had driven humans from a single planet to the vast reaches of space. A spirit of determination, of innovation, of survival. Captain J. Park looked at his crew. No words were needed. They were ready. The battle for humanity's future was about to begin. The alien vessels erupted from hyperspace like silent predators. Their metallic bodies gleamed with an unnatural light, moving in synchronized patterns that defied traditional understanding of space navigation. Each ship looked more like a living organism than a machine. Fluid, adaptive, terrifyingly intelligent. Lieutenant Yuna Kim's fingers flew across the quantum communication panels. Her eyes narrowed, tracking the incoming vessel's movements. "Captain," she called, "they're not following any standard attack formation we've ever encountered." Captain J. Park stepped closer to the holographic display. The alien fleet moved like a single organism, each vessel connected through what seemed to be some form of advanced neural network. Traditional human tactical training suggested multiple attack vectors, potential weak points. But these aliens operated differently. "Defensive pattern Omega," Park commanded, his voice steady and controlled. The UEA's Horizon's systems hummed to life. Quantum shields began to pulse, creating a protective membrane around the ship that was more than just a physical barrier. It was a complex computational defense system that could adapt in microseconds. Engineer Sung Ho monitored the ship's experimental quantum disruptors. These weapons represented humanity's most advanced technological breakthrough. Developed in secret research facilities, they were designed to interact with alien technology at a fundamental quantum level. "Disruptor systems are charging," Sung Ho reported. His hands moved with surgical precision across multiple holographic interfaces. "Adaptive targeting is online." The first wave of alien energy weapons struck the Horizon's shields. Instead of traditional explosions, the attacks appeared as complex mathematical patterns, waves of energy that seemed to probe and analyze rather than destroy. Lieutenant Kim watched in fascination. "They're not just attacking," she whispered. "They're studying us." Captain Park understood immediately. This wasn't a simple military engagement. It was a complex interaction between two fundamentally different civilizations. The aliens were gathering information with each attack, learning, adapting. The bridge crew remained calm. Years of training had prepared them for the unexpected. Humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to adapt, to learn, to transform challenges into opportunities. Suddenly, the alien vessels changed formation. They moved with a synchronicity that suggested a collective consciousness. No individual ship moved independently. They were connected, thinking, responding as a single entity. "Quantum disruptors ready," Sung Ho announced. Captain Park hesitated for just a moment. These experimental weapons had never been tested in actual combat. Their theoretical potential was immense, but practical application remained unknown. "Fire," he commanded. The quantum disruptor beams erupted from the horizon. They weren't traditional weapons. Instead, they represented a complex interaction of energy and information. Where normal weapons would punch through shields, these beams began to unravel the very computational structure of the alien vessels. The effect was immediate and unexpected. Alien ships didn't explode. They dissolved. Their complex structures began to break down at a fundamental quantum level. It was less like destruction and more like complex deconstruction. Lieutenant Kim's console erupted with data streams. "Captain, their neural network is fragmenting. Our disruptors are interfering with their collective communication systems." The alien fleet began to scatter. Their perfect formation collapsed. For the first time, individual vessels started to move independently, seemingly confused and disorganized. Captain Park watched the holographic display. This wasn't just a battle. It was first contact at its most fundamental level. Humanity was demonstrating its potential, not through brute force, but through innovative technological adaptation. "Continue monitoring," Park instructed, "but do not pursue." The universe had just witnessed something unprecedented. A small human warship had not just survived an alien encounter, it had fundamentally challenged the aliens' understanding of warfare, technology, and communication. As the scattered alien vessels retreated, an uncomfortable silence filled the Horizon's bridge. They had won, but at what cost? And what would the aliens do next? The first contact had changed everything. The quantum disruptor beams sliced through the alien fleet like digital lightning. Each beam carried more than destructive energy. It represented humanity's most advanced technological achievement. The alien vessels, once moving with perfect synchronization, now scattered like frightened insects. Captain J. Park watched the holographic display with intense concentration. The battle wasn't just about survival. It was a demonstration of human innovation against a technologically superior opponent. "Target their primary command vessel," he ordered, his voice calm and precise. Lieutenant Yuna Kim's fingers danced across the quantum targeting systems. The alien command ship was massive, a biological mechanical hybrid that looked more like a living organism than a traditional spacecraft. Its structure suggested advanced technologies far beyond human understanding. "Quantum lock established," Yuna reported. Her hands moved with surgical precision, routing power through complex computational matrices. Engineer Sung Ho worked frantically in the lower decks. The Horizon's experimental systems were pushing beyond their design parameters. Cooling systems struggled to manage the intense energy output. Electrical systems flickered and sparked. "We're exceeding safe operational limits," Sung Ho muttered, rerouting power through backup systems. His hands moved faster than most human eyes could track, creating emergency pathways and computational workarounds. The alien command ship began to respond. The universe had just witnessed something unprecedented. A small human warship had not just survived an alien encounter. It had fundamentally challenged the aliens' understanding of warfare, technology, and communication. As the scattered alien vessels retreated, an uncomfortable silence filled the Horizon's bridge. They had won, but at what cost? And what would the aliens do next? The first contact had changed everything. The quantum disruptor beams sliced through the alien fleet like digital lightning. Each beam carried more than destructive energy. It represented humanity's most advanced technological achievement. The alien vessels, once moving with perfect synchronization, now scattered like frightened insects. Captain J. Park watched the holographic display with intense concentration. The battle wasn't just about survival. It was a demonstration of human innovation against a technologically superior opponent. "Target their primary command vessel," he ordered, his voice calm and precise. Lieutenant Yuna Kim's fingers danced across the quantum targeting systems. The alien command ship was massive, a biological mechanical hybrid that looked more like a living organism than a traditional spacecraft. Its structure suggested advanced technologies far beyond human understanding. "Quantum lock established," Yuna reported. Her hands moved with surgical precision, routing power through complex computational matrices. Engineer Sung Ho worked frantically in the lower decks. The Horizon's experimental systems were pushing beyond their design parameters. Cooling systems struggled to manage the intense energy output. Electrical systems flickered and sparked. "We're exceeding safe operational limits," Sung Ho muttered, rerouting power through backup systems. His hands moved faster than most human eyes could track, creating emergency pathways and computational workarounds. The alien command ship began to respond. Its defensive systems were unlike anything human strategists had predicted. Instead of traditional weapon responses, it began to adapt. Complex energy patterns shifted and changed, attempting to counter the human attack. But humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology, it was adaptability. Captain Park watched as the quantum disruptors began to unravel the alien ship's complex computational network. Each beam didn't just damage, it deconstructed. The alien vessel's intricate systems began to fragment, losing their perfect synchronization. "Their collective network is breaking down," Lieutenant Kim announced. Her voice carried a hint of excitement. This wasn't just a battle. It was a fundamental challenge to the aliens' understanding of warfare. The bridge crew remained focused. Years of training had prepared them for this moment. Each person understood their role, their importance to the larger mission. They weren't just soldiers. They were pioneers. Alien counterattacks became more desperate. Energy weapons lashed out in complex patterns, probing the Horizon's defenses. But human innovation remained one step ahead. The ship's quantum shields absorbed and redirected incoming attacks, turning them into computational information. "Structural integrity at 62%, Sung Ho reported. The ship had taken significant damage, but they were still fighting. Captain Park made a critical decision. "Prepare full quantum disruptor sequence," he commanded. This was more than a tactical maneuver. It was a statement of human potential. The Horizon's experimental weapons charge. Complex energy patterns built up, representing years of secret research and human creativity. Traditional military doctrine suggested caution, but humanity had never been about playing it safe. Lieutenant Kim's console erupted with warning signals. "Multiple alien vessels converging," she announced. The remaining alien fleet was attempting a coordinated counterattack. But they didn't understand human determination. The quantum disruptor sequence erupted. It wasn't just a weapon. It was a complex computational signal that began to unravel the very fabric of the alien fleet's collective consciousness. Ships didn't explode. They'd dissolved. Their complex systems fragmenting at a fundamental quantum level. Captain Park watched the holographic display. The alien fleet was collapsing, not through traditional destruction, but through a fundamental deconstruction of their technological network. "Hold position," he instructed. The battle wasn't about total annihilation. It was about sending a message. Humanity was here. Humanity was ready. As the last alien vessel dissolved into complex energy patterns, an uncomfortable silence filled the Horizon's bridge. They had won, but at what cost? And what would come next? The universe had just learned an important lesson about human potential. The Horizon shuddered violently. Alarms screamed across every deck, their piercing wails cutting through the controlled chaos of battle. Multiple alien energy weapons had finally penetrated the ship's quantum shields, delivering devastating strikes to the critical systems. Captain J. Park gripped the command console, his knuckles turning white. The bridge tilted slightly, artificial gravity systems struggling to compensate for the massive structural damage. "Damage report," he shouted. Lieutenant Yuna Kim's console erupted with flashing red warnings. "Quantum drive is destabilizing. Main power grid showing multiple critical failures. We're losing structural integrity in decks 3 through 7. Engineer Sun Ho's voice crackled through the communication system. His words were calm, but carried an underlying tension. "Captain, we're losing power to critical defense systems. Backup generators are operating at 43% capacity." The alien fleet had found their weakness. What started as a decisive human victory was now turning into a potential catastrophic defeat. The Horizon's experimental technologies were impressive, but not invincible. Electrical systems flickered. Holographic displays transformed into broken, fragmented images. Sparks erupted from damaged control panels. The ship was dying, piece by piece. "Reroute all remaining power to quantum shields," Park commanded. His mind raced through potential survival scenarios. Retreat wasn't an option, not when humanity's reputation was at stake. Sun Ho worked with superhuman speed. His hands moved across emergency control systems, creating impossible computational pathways. Where traditional engineering would fail, human creativity found solutions. "Temporary stabilization achieved," he reported. "But we can't maintain this for long." The alien vessels circled like predators. Their complex biological mechanical structures suggested they were analyzing, learning, preparing for a final devastating strike. Lieutenant Kim's hands continued working. Despite the chaos, her movements remained precise, controlled. "Incoming energy signature," she warned. "They're preparing a concentrated attack." Captain Park knew this was the moment that would define everything. One decision could save or destroy not just their ship, but potentially humanity's entire strategic position in this sector. "Activate experimental quantum resonance protocol," he said quietly. For a moment, everything stopped. The bridge crew looked at their captain, understanding the magnitude of his command. This was a weapon system so advanced, so untested, that its potential consequences were completely unknown. Sun Ho's voice trembled slightly. "Sir, that system has never been fully tested. The quantum feedback could potentially destroy our own ship." Park's eyes remained fixed on the holographic display. "We have no other choice." The quantum resonance protocol began to charge. It wasn't a weapon in traditional sense. It was a complex computational signal designed to interact with alien technology at its most fundamental level. The ship's remaining systems began to pulse with strange, almost living energy. Quantum frequencies built up, creating a complex mathematical pattern that defied traditional understanding of physics. Alien vessels suddenly stopped their attack. Their collective consciousness seemed confused, disrupted by the complex energy signature. "Now," Park shouted. The quantum resonance erupted. It wasn't an explosion. It was a complex computational wave that began to unravel the very fabric of the alien fleet's technological infrastructure. For several breathless moments, nothing happened. Then the alien vessels began to dissolve, not destroyed, deconstructed, transformed into pure energy patterns that scattered across the vast darkness of space. The horizon drifted, damaged but alive. Smoke filled the bridge. Damaged systems sparked and flickered. Captain Park looked at his crew. No words were needed. They had survived. They had won. Humanity had just demonstrated its most powerful weapon, the ability to adapt, to innovate, to survive against impossible odds. The universe would never be the same again. The horizon drifted in the silent darkness of space, its hull scared and broken. Emergency lights flickered, casting long shadows across damaged corridors. What remained of the crew moved with purpose, their movements slow but determined. Captain J. Park stood on the damaged bridge, watching the vast emptiness where moments ago an entire alien fleet had existed. Lieutenant Yuna Kim worked quietly, reconstructing battle logs and gathering critical data from their extraordinary encounter. "Casualty report," Park requested, his voice rough from hours of continuous command. Yuna's hands moved across damaged communication panels. 27 crew members injured, 4 confirmed fatalities. Structural damage is extensive, but primary systems remain functional. Engineer Sung Ho's voice crackled through the communication system. "We've lost 60% of our quantum drive capabilities. Main power systems are operating at minimal efficiency, but we're alive." The significance of their victory was just beginning to sink in. This wasn't just a battle. This was humanity's first true test against an unknown technological civilization. Fragments of alien technology drifted outside the ship's damaged windows. Complex energy patterns scattered across the dark void, remnants of a fleet that had seemed invincible mere hours ago. "Prepare communication burst to Central Command," Park instructed. "They need to know what happened here." Yuna's fingers moved across the communication console. The message would take hours to reach Human Colony Command, but its content would change everything humanity understood about space warfare. Sung Ho continued his emergency repairs. Where traditional systems failed, human creativity found solutions. Damaged quantum circuits were bypassed. Backup systems were rerouted through impossible computational pathways. The ship's medical bay worked with controlled chaos. Injured crew members received treatment, their injuries testament to the intense battle they had survived. Each person understood they were part of something larger than themselves. Outside, the vast emptiness of space remained indifferent. Stars continued their ancient dance, unaffected by the battle that had just transformed humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. "Incoming transmission," Yuna announced suddenly. The communication was fragmented, filled with static. But its origin was clear. The distant human colonies were responding to their battle report. Captain Park studied the incoming data streams. Complex algorithms analyzed every moment of their encounter. Military strategists would spend months, perhaps years, understanding the implications of what had just occurred. Sung Ho's voice carried a hint of exhaustion and pride. "Primary quantum systems are stabilizing. We're going to make it." The horizon might be damaged, but it had survived. More importantly, it had demonstrated humanity's potential, not through brute force, but through innovation, adaptability, and collective determination. Park looked at his remaining crew. They were tired, wounded, but unbroken. Each person represented humanity's best qualities: resilience, creativity, the ability to face the unknown without fear. "Prepare for emergency jump," he commanded. "We're going home." The ship's damaged quantum drive began to charge. Its systems were broken, experimental, pushed beyond their designed limits. But like the crew, the technology would adapt, would survive. Yuna's console displayed multiple data streams: battle logs, sensor recordings, quantum energy signatures. Each piece of information was a potential key to understanding their mysterious alien opponents. "Captain," she said quietly, "we've changed everything." Park nodded. This wasn't just a military victory. This was a moment that would be remembered in human history, the day humanity proved it could face the unknown and emerge victorious. The Horizon's quantum drive hummed to life, damaged but functional, a perfect metaphor for humanity itself. As the ship prepared to jump, the vast darkness of space seemed to hold its breath, waiting, watching, understanding that something fundamental had just changed. Humanity had arrived, and the universe would never be the same.